Welcome to the Cryptosphere. This is Cryptogenic coming at you. In this video today, we're going to talk about the case for an incoming $90,000 Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the path to get there, and I'm going to give you a projection for how long I think it's going to take us to get to $90,000. But before I get there, I got something important to share with you today. December 26, 2004. That was the date that the devastating tsunami hit Southeast Asia. It hit Indonesia harder than any other place in the world. Matter of fact, more than 200,000 Indonesians lost their lives on that day. 3 months afterward, I was able to go into Indonesia for the first time, into the parts of Indonesia that the tsunami had ravaged. First, I went to a city called Banda Aceh on the northern tip of Sumatra. That island had just been smashed. We went from there to the island of Nias, which is just off the northwest coast of Sumatra. Small island, only 750,000 people live there. We made our way to the south end of the island to a city called Tuluk Dalam. And what we discovered in that little town is that in the wake of the earthquake that rocked that entire island, the wave only hit one side of the island, but the earthquake rocked the entire island. Thousands of structures collapsed, and there were thousands of orphans running the streets because their homes had collapsed and killed their parents. Well, we met a pastor. He and his wife had taken in about 40 to 50 of these children and were doing their best to provide for them. So we quickly created an ad hoc adopt a child program in our church, and members of our church adopted every one of those kids. And for the last 19 years, we have been the sole source of provision for those children. And each of us who has adopted a child in our church, we give about $40 a month. There's $40 or $45 now. That takes care of their food, their provisions, their education. There's now a new generation of children there. But the facility is now dilapidated, and it's not safe anymore. So my wife has a vision. She's got a dream. She wants to raise $50,000 to build them a facility that is conducive to their being nurtured and having a future. This dormitory will basically provide a new life for generations of children who will come through this orphanage there in Tuluk Dalam. Now, why am I telling you this story? I'm not hitting you up for money. I'm actually not asking you for a dime. I'm telling you this story because I've decided that I'm going to give all I can to support this cause. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to give all of my Patreon income. My invitation to you is join my Patreon. You all know that I'm not extremely consistent when it comes to my YouTube videos. I'm hit or miss. I'm there every once in a while. This is not the case with my Patreon. I'm on my Patreon virtually every day. I'm posting charts. I'm posting updates. I'm answering questions. I'm hosting Zoom sessions. I'm making members-only videos. I'm very present on my Patreon. That's part of why I don't have the time to make so many YouTube videos anymore, because I'm caring for the members of my Patreon community. And I dare say that no Patreon gives what I give, especially for such a low price. So my invitation to you is come join us. All right, let's jump into these charts here and let's take a look at Bitcoin's path to $90,000. Now, I think this chart says it all. You see that I've got this $90,000 target here. However, taking a look at this macro weekly chart, I think that Bitcoin is going to need to break down before it breaks out. So we will make it to $90,000, but it's not going to be before the end of this year. I think we're begging for a breakdown, even a revisitation of the $16,000 mark. And that's best case scenario. If we break beneath there, we could retest this line at about 14,000. And if we break beneath there, we could come all the way down to about the $12,000 mark. And honestly, anywhere between $12,000 and $16,000, I think, is probably in the works. And I think that would be extremely healthy for the market to drop down into that region. I think would be extremely healthy for the market. And here's why. Because if you compare the volume, if you look at the volume, Let's say this again. And I think a drop all the way down here will be really good for the market because the money will be waiting down at the bottom and the confidence for the next move up will be there. I think we're going to see increased volume. I think the market participation is going to be set. And so one more good dump, I think, is all we need to set us on our way into the next bull run, really, and into the next breakout. Now, what will this look like? Now, I drew this line this way, not because I think it's going to follow this exact path, but I think we're going to bounce around in this region here. So, however long it takes, I think we're going to bounce around in this region here before we break out and start our way up. And so the question is, how long will it take? Well, I'm not going to take the fractal of the entire last move. But once the bull run starts, if it starts here, that would give us 90,000 by January of 2024. I think that's less likely. I think it's more likely that we stay in this arc until we get further towards the end of the year, November to December. And then when we break out, that would take us up to the $90,000 region by July of 2024. So my projection is that we're going to see a $90,000 Bitcoin by the end of July, beginning of August 2024. Now that is a projection. That is a projection. Let's take a look at the charts to delve in a little bit deeper to see if we can find out more about what's going to happen in the meantime. Well, here's what I'm seeing in the meantime. It looks to me like we're trying to break down. I've been expecting a breakdown to retest this line here at around $24,000. Looks, however, like the RSI is already coming up on support and doesn't have very much more to go before it gets there. We could get some bullish divergence in the RSI, or we could stop short of making it all the way down to this target. Maybe we stop at around 25,000. Then I think there's a good chance that we bounce and head up towards 32 to 33,000 before we get the crash that I've been waiting for. And what that would look like in the RSI is coming up and then coming all the way down for a refresh in the RSI. And now that will be the beginning of the next bull run. However that happens, that will be the beginning of the next bull run in earnest. The big money will be waiting down there when that crash happens. And then I think we're going to take off and the sky is the limit. So, folks, in summary, I will say that I think we are on our way. I know it takes patience. I know we don't like these ideas of these major crashes coming, but actually they're very healthy for the market. It's kind of like when you get sick to your stomach and you feel like, man, if I could just throw up and get it over with, I'll feel better. That's what I feel like Bitcoin needs to do. Just have a good vomit one more time. Just dump really hard one more time. And I think that will be the refresh that we need to start us on our way towards the next bull run. And the next bull run is coming, and it's going to go beyond 90,000. 90,000 is not the top of it. It's going to go beyond 90,000. My chart takes it to between 130 and 320,000 in the next bull run. And there are many more altcoins that'll do much better than Bitcoin in the next run. And we're going to talk about them in some videos to come. But remember, folks, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply my opinion, my perspective, what I see in the charts. So don't make any major financial decisions based on what I say. But remember that everything that I do is designed to empower you to sleep in peace every night, wake in joy every morning, and walk in love every day. And if this has helped you to do that, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. But above all, yeah, sleep in peace tonight, wake in joy tomorrow, walk in love every day. This is Cryptogenic, signing out.